EIU head coach Chris Wilkerson, the team coming off a loss against nationally ranked foe Illinois State. Begin league play this week. They're going to host Lindenwood on Saturday afternoon. So, coach, just some thoughts on your team, and we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, certainly disappointed with the result and the way that we played, particularly in the late in the first quarter and the second quarter on Saturday night. But frustrated as a football team in terms of where we want to be and where we're at right this minute. But really excited to start conference play this week at home against a very talented, well-coached Lindenwood team.
Thanks, Coach. I know we have Barry with us. Barry, go ahead with any questions you have.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, good morning, Barry.
I wanted to start with you with, obviously the non-conference season didn't go as you had hoped. Can you talk about just trying to reset for the conference season, and how do you guys do that? How do you discuss what's ahead?
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. We every game is important, and certainly there are things that are good and things that are not, and things that we learn from every single week. And we did play two Big Ten schools and nationally ranked team on the road. But hey, that all is behind us now, and our focus is completely on going forward. And our first opportunity to play Big South OVC football this Saturday at home.
How would you assess Pierce Holly's play so far and the offense in general? And what do you need to see?
Yeah, it's been up and down. Certainly, he's been the recipient of some bad luck. He's had some throws. I think he probably wish he would have made some different decisions, but the majority of his turnovers have actually been off deflections, and he's put the ball in the right place, and the receivers have just unfortunately had some balls bounce off of them, and so we've had some bad bounces. But I have all the faith and confidence in the world in Pierce. He's a competitor, and I know he's preparing and working his tail off to get better every single day.
I wanted to ask you about a guy who really stood out Saturday, and that's Kalen Drakeford. I know Kalen was recovering during the spring, so he didn't play a lot in the spring, especially the spring game. What does Kalen provide this defense? And can you tell me a little bit about the value of having him back with this group?
Yeah, Kalen's a great young man. He's a heck of a football player. He brings a lot of experience to the table, has played a lot of football here. He's big. I mean, he's built like a linebacker and obviously plays on the roof in our secondary at safety in the boundary. A guy that can tackle like a linebacker and can cover, skill players. And so he brings a lot of experience. He brings confidence. He brings toughness and some physicality to our secondary. And so it's a pleasure having him and watching him continue to develop. And I look forward to watching him continue to compete.
In spite of the score and the situations, he was a guy who was still forcing turnovers and making plays. What does that say about Kalen and who he is as a player?
Yeah, he's never going to give up. He's a guy that is absolutely going to keep working the football, trying to improve, finishing everything that he starts. Obviously, he had the interception late in the first half and then forced the fumble late in the game, coming down on one of their completions. And so, again, I'm really excited about his efforts and his energy and his continued commitment to our program.
You talked about some of the deflections, and I know there have been some misconnections with receivers as well. Can you talk about what you need to see more of with that group?
Consistency. And that's really what we've lacked offensively. We've moved the football in spurts. Yes, we've played some good defenses. We're going to continue to play good defenses. And so the bottom line is we've got to be more consistent. We've got to execute. We've got to finish drives. We've got to possess the football.
You've played some young corners here and there with Isaiah and Chris Sharp and Kiwan as well. I wanted to ask you about the value of getting them some reps, and what have you seen out of those young guys?
Yeah, they continue to develop. And there are a number of other positions where we were able to play some guys. Even at the end of the game, we were able to get Blaney Dowling in at quarterback. We've had another number of young players play in different positions, some different guys on the perimeter at receiver. It's all valuable snaps. It's almost impossible to simulate game speed, even though they've been practice players. And hopefully that will pay off for them as the season continues to wear on, as guys do become injured or somebody else has to step up. And hopefully they'll have that experience will be very valuable.
As you watch film of Lindenwood, what stands out to you? What do they do well?
A lot. They're very big and physical on defense. They know exactly what they want to be. They're a 4-3 team. They'll close the middle. They're not afraid to play man-to-man. Their corners are long and physical and can tackle. They're big up front. They're active. And then offensively, they cause a ton of problems. They've got a big running back. He's 6'2", 240. Their quarterback is a tremendous player, can make all the throws, great athlete, transfer. And then they've got maybe the best wide receiver in all of FCS football in Jeff Caldwell. And, if you're not aware of where he is and you don't have two guys assigned to him, you're in for a long afternoon. So we've got our hands full. Their offensive line, against big and physical. They got two great tight ends. They're a heck of a football team. They won Saturday 64-0. And they do have a firm identity. Both coordinators and the head coach have been together quite some time. So we're going to have our hands full, but excited about the opportunity to play at home.
Yeah. Coach, coming off the non-conference season, it's unique to play two Big Ten teams on the road, obviously. Is that something you would do again? Obviously, there are financial benefits. There are benefits from exposure standpoint. Would you do that again?
Yeah, every year is unique, but hey, for us, we're not going to focus on the past. We're just going to focus on going forward, and that's certainly getting ready for the Big South OVC this weekend.
Great, Coach. Thank you for your time.
I really appreciate it.
Coach, just a little bit more on the Lindenwood. Obviously, they're new to the league. Third year. They're 2.5 hours away from you. This could be another team. Like, your schedule is very non-conference, is very regional. What's it like to play another team that's pretty close to you that you can develop a rivalry with?
It has turned into a natural rivalry, if you will, almost another border war just to our west. The very first year that we played them at home, I think it was homecoming for us, and it was a knockdown, drag out, overtime football game, back and forth, and they were able to secure a victory here. Very competitive, a lot of emotion, and then certainly we were able to go there last year and sneak out with a victory, and they were banged up at that point in time. So I know they don't lack confidence. They've got a very good program, very strong leadership. They've got talented football players, and so again, we're going to have our hands full. Our guys understand that this has turned into quite a rivalry, and we're just excited to compete at home.
And then maybe this is generic, or maybe to your team too. Just like you all played. They've played FBS. They've played, like teams. How do you know when you're preparing for an opponent which one you're going to see? The one that played St. Thomas and scored 64. The one who played an FBS team, and not just maybe Lindenwood, but any of these upcoming games. And you're seeing a team. How do you know which team you're going to see on the field?
Yeah, you really don't. You do the best you can looking at their personnel, and you look at their they look at their schemes, and you look at the coaching staff, and you look at the guys when they do make plays and when they're at their best. And much like us, you'll see spurts where we look pretty good, and then there's some times where we don't. The early season part of it, the preseason schedule, if you will, is not necessarily indicative of who's going to be the best team in the conference. When it's all said and done, we're going to start playing each other now every single week. I know a couple of teams have had a chance to play with Martin and SEMO, and certainly with Tech and State. But it's really going to start to pick up starting this weekend, and I'm excited to see kind of where we're at as a football team.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time this morning. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks a million, Kyle. Go Panthers.